Welcome to this podcast press briefing. To lead us in today's proceedings is our chairperson, the Honorable Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services. I transfer over to you, Chair.
Thank you, Chief Secretary Dr. Martin Rushwaya. Thank you, members of the Fourth Estate, for coming to the 9th post-cabinet briefing session in Harare. The Minister of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development, Honorable Dr. Anxious Masuka, presented the update on the summer and winter crops marketing, which was adopted by Cabinet. Cabinet wishes to inform the nation that the Grain Marketing Board stocks as at 19th of November 2023 for maize and traditional grains stood at 194,429 metric tons and 47,477 metric tons respectively, with stocks of 231,776 metric tons as at 19 November 2023 will last for 11 months at a monthly drawdown rate of 21,000 metric tons. The monthly consumption for grain is now estimated at 23,000 metric tons, comprising 20,000 metric tons of maize for millers and 3,000 metric tons of sorghum for stock feed manufacturers. Regarding the summer crops marketing update, the nation is informed that the GMB intake was 39% in terms of market share of all the marketed crops, with 47% share of maize, 7.3% of soybean, 41% of sunflower, and 64% of traditional grains. Government is expediting the payments of all outstanding payments due to farmers. Pertaining to winter wheat, a record 90,192 hectares were planted, with 89,932 hectares harvested to date, yielding 467,333 metric tons at an average of 5.2 tons per hectare, which is another record achieved under the Second Republic. Cabinet considered the note and noted an update on the preparations for the 2023-2024 summer season, which was also presented by the Minister of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development, Honorable Dr. A.J. Masuka. The nation is informed that preparations for the 2023-2024 summer season are well on course, with over 1.9 million farmers which have so far been trained under the climate-proof presidential input Pumbuza into a supply scheme, while 7.6 million plots have already been prepared. Farmers have generally responded positively to climate-proofing interventions in preparation for El Nino. There is adequate fertilizer for the presidential program and other schemes. Other farmers can now import fertilizer for their own use following the approval by government. Meanwhile, dryland tobacco planting has slowed down because of the late rains. 40 contractors have registered for tobacco production, with the total indicative area contracted at 148,000 hectares. To date, a total of 31,681 hectares of tobacco have been planted, representing a 4.6% increase above last year at the same period. Pertaining to cotton, Cabinet wishes to advise the public that a total of 11 contractors have indicated their intention to contract farmers this season, while 9 contractors have contracted growers. The Agriculture Marketing Authority has completed the induction of common input distribution point clerks across the country. The targeted production is 271,286 hectares by about 4 million farmers, with an estimated volume of 130 to 140,000 metric tons. The Presidential Climate Proof Pfumvudza Intwasa Cotton Program and Inputs Distribution will utilize established GMB channels and committees at ward level with the usual ward committees. A monitoring system through Agritech has been introduced to monitor the Pfumvudza Intwasa program from planting all the way through to marketing. Cabinet also received an update on the cholera outbreak as presented by the Minister of Health and Childcare, Honorable Dr. Douglas Mumbeshora. During the period 9 November 2023 to 15 November 2023, there were 1,259 new suspected cholera cases reported, compared to 437 cases reported in the previous week. Goromonzi, Mudzi, Mutasa, and Mtoko are the new districts that reported cases during this period. The highest number of cholera cases during this period were from Harare with 323, Chitungwiza with 206, and Buhera 68. In response to the cholera challenges, deliveries of procured medicines and commodities from NatFarm started on the 7th of November 2023, and redistribution to provinces and districts has already commenced. Regarding water and sanitation, point of use water treatment chemicals are being distributed in the affected areas. Cabinet has also reiterated as follows: that intensified risk communication and community engagement, including involvement of religious and local leadership, be intensified, including school health education on cholera and other diseases, and the utilization of existing media houses and digital platforms for content dissemination should also be intensified. That there be improved safe water access to communities through the rehabilitation of boreholes and also the drilling of new boreholes. That public health measures be reinforced in all communities reporting cholera cases, including restrictions of gatherings in all cholera affected areas and supervision of all burials in all cholera affected areas. That vending be restricted to designated areas only, and that since the city of Harare is failing to provide water and sanitation facilities, the government of Zimbabwe is intervening in order to ensure that normalcy is restored. That also includes the maintenance of Harare City Council's water bowsers, and that the Ministry of Health and Childcare should intensify the monitoring of all provinces. Cabinet received reports on progress made in the implementation of priority projects for the third 100-day cycle of the year 2023, as presented by the Ministers of Tourism and Hospitality Industry, the Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, Innovation, Science and Technology Development, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, Honorable Frederick Shava, reported progress on projects under his purview as follows: that the refurbishment of the ambassador's residence in Abuja, Nigeria, is at 15% in terms of completion. that the refurbishment of the ambassador's residence in Berlin, Germany is at 78% in terms of completion, that the refurbishment of the ambassador's residence in London, in Britain, is 85% in terms of completion, and that the refurbishment of chancelleries and consulates is at various stages of completion as follows: in Pretoria, South Africa, which is 100% complete; in Maputo, Mozambique, which is at 95% in terms of completion; in Beira, Mozambique, 98%; and in Abuja, Nigeria, 20% in terms of completion. The Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, Innovation, Science and Technology Development reported progress on projects under his ministry's purview as follows: that the establishment of a cooking oil plant in Toko is at 65% in terms of completion, that the construction of Innovation Hub at Great Zimbabwe University is at 100% in terms of completion, that the Mtare Teachers College Baobab Juice project is now complete, that the Gwanda State University Mining Laboratory is at 35% in terms of completion, and that the establishment of an integrated skills expansion outreach program is complete, having trained 170 people to skilled worker class 4 level of the targeted 140 people. The Minister of Tourism and Hospitality Industry, Honorable Barbara Rodzi, reported progress on projects under her purview as follows: that the construction of tourism facilities is at 100% in terms of completion at Linon Hotel in Mtare, at Elephant Lodge in Boera, at Tamarid Lodges in Nyanga, at Paradise Lodge in Chiredzi, the Travelers Rest Lodge in Beitbridge, the Zimbabwe Lodge in Kariba, and the Waterfront Resort Development Project in Kariba. The Diana's Pool Community-Based Tourism Project in Umzingwane in Matabeleland South is at 100% in terms of completion, and the Kore Kore Cultural Village Community-Based Tourism Project in Makonde District in Mashonaland West Province is complete, with equipment comprising cooking utensils and traditional artifacts for display at the cultural village having been fully procured. The Minister of Industry and Commerce, Honorable Dr. Stembisonyoni, appraised the Cabinet on the localization of fertilizer production in Zimbabwe. The nation is informed that the 2023-2024 summer crop preparedness indicates a total demand of fertilizer representing 1,422,500 tons, targeting 3 million households for strategic crops. It is reported that there will be a deficit of 990,317 metric tons of fertilizer for the current season. The country is reported to have 77,483 metric tons of stock and 354,700 tons in collateral management agreement, which requires $460 million to unlock stocks in the collateral management agreements. Cabinet advises that the local fertilizer industry has an installed annual production capacity of more than 2 million metric tons of compound and blends. The industry is currently operating at 30%, and the supply gap is being covered by imports. Cabinet would like to report that in order to alleviate the current shortage of fertilizer, the country will import a variety of potential schemes. The Doroa Shava Hills project, the wonderful group of Zambia joint venture with Rusununguku Nkululeko Holdings. The joint venture is expected to bring in 50,000 metric tons of basal fertilizer and 50,000 metric tons of ammonium nitrate. On innovative measures for local production of unique varieties of fertilizers, Cabinet would like to advise that there is a coal to fertilizer project which is being pursued by Verify Engineering. Sebo Chemicals is currently exploring the option of local ammonia gas production. The company is also exploring the production of ammonia gas using natural gas sourced from Zarabani. The processes will utilize the locally available coal to develop ammonia-based fertilizers, thereby fulfilling fertilizer requirements. Furthermore, Sebo also signed an MOU with Invictus Energy, which will enable Sebo Chemicals to produce 240,000 metric tons of AN fertilizer and 360,000 tons of urea. Sebo is also pursuing the option of local ammonia gas production, which includes the production of green ammonia using solar as the primary source of power. Additionally, other innovative measures will be used to mitigate both increased volume and funding requirements for fertilizers. Will be to use super grades of fertilizers such as Super D instead of Compound D, or urea in place of ammonium nitrate. A comprehensive plan in terms of production is underway. The Minister of Industry and Commerce, Honorable Stembiso Nyoni, also updated Cabinet on the measures being implemented to address the current cement shortage on the local market. Cabinet advises that as at 15 November 2023, 665 applications for cement imports were approved, amounting to 149,000 metric tons, in order to ease the cement shortages and also to clear backlogs that had been created on the market. Cabinet would like to report that of the 665 approved applications, only 332 import licenses were collected. The approved applications are also for manufacturers, wholesalers, and retailers, as well as companies in the construction industry. Furthermore, industry players have been allowed to import cement using their own free funds, and they've been given a deadline of 31 December 2023. The nation is also further informed that there is also an administrative arrangement with Zimra to allow importation of cement amounting to a maximum of 5 metric tons for individuals in terms of personal use. The supply gap of cement is expected to decline starting in December 2023. Government will continue to review the current supply situation and will take decisive action against errant industry players. The government would also like to assure the public that the government has given a directive and an ultimatum to industry players to review their supply and pricing models. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, Honorable Dr. Frederick Shava, reported on the World Children's Day commemorations held in Walvis Bay in Namibia on the 19th of November 2023. The nation is informed that the Honorable Vice President, Colonel Retired Kembo Mahadi, represented His Excellency the President, Dr. Idi Mnangagwa, at the 3rd annual sub-regional celebrations of the World Children's Day. A delegation of 10 children from Zimbabwe joined their counterparts from the other 3 countries in participating in the event. The sub-regional World Children's Day commemorations is an effort by the heads of state of Zimbabwe, Namibia, Zambia, and Botswana to join the global community in celebrating the World Children's Day as a moment of reflecting on the global community's commitment towards the Declaration of the Children's Rights, which have since been adopted by the United Nations and individual countries. This year's commemorations were held under the theme, Renewing Our Promise for Children's Rights. Cabinet would like to advise that the most notable concerns raised by the children from the 4 countries included the following: the need for improved child participation and inclusion in the development of government policies, systems, and programs that affect them, the need to remove gender disparities and unequal treatment of children living with disabilities, the need for improvement of child protection systems and mechanisms, and the need for investment in mental health awareness and also in combating online threats such as online bullying and exposure to adult and improper content. The nation is informed that the Honorable Vice President had appraised the meeting on the ongoing efforts by the government of Zimbabwe. I think.
That's question 10. This round of 3 questions from the question. Who is going to start?
Okay, thank you, Chief Secretary. I will allow Professor Murwira to respond. I will also respond to his question, which he has said is had mixed feelings. So, Professor Murwira, perhaps you could answer the question related to when do we think the laboratory will be completed. Professor.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Mukute, for that question. We are building a mining innovation and validation laboratory at Rwanda State University. By the time we prepared this report, it was at 35%. By the time we went for the graduation on Friday last week, it is at 95%. We are expecting that this laboratory is completed before 15th December 2023 in terms of the general, the infrastructure itself. And we expect equipmentation at the first quarter of next year. We expect it to be the most sophisticated mining and minerals laboratory in Zimbabwe within the coming year, because minerals are our heritage as well as agriculture. So you see we've been focusing more on minerals value addition and the agricultural value addition. The agricultural value addition has been very advanced. That's why we are putting up cooking oil plants and so on and so on. But we are starting to concentrate more now on minerals value addition. And our first laboratory of that sophistication, high level of sophistication, is at Rwanda State University. And His Excellency Dr. Edin Nagagwa inspected it on Friday last week. And I can tell you that although in our report that we prepared in October, it was at 35%, it is at more than 90% complete, and by 15th December, we will be done with it, and next year, we'll be using it to actually understand our minerals and value add for the benefits of people.
Thank you. Perhaps I'll answer for the last time questions outside the post-cabinet briefing sessions, that we should always stand guided by the items that we have discussed. The government of Zimbabwe, as government, we are guided by the engagement and re-engagement pillar in terms of ensuring that we are a friend to all and an enemy to none. But given what you termed mixed feelings, that observer missions are invited by, in this particular case, by the government of Zimbabwe to observe elections, full stop. And the observation of elections is done in terms of our laws. But at the same time, let's wear our historical lenses. Who brought about the independence, the democracy? who brought about one man, one vote is the heroic people of Zimbabwe under the leadership of ZANU-PF and PF, ZAP. We conduct elections in terms of ensuring that we fulfill the constitutional obligations of our country. And we do it for our own good. At the same time, like I've already indicated, that if we are going to wear our historical lenses, we'll be in a position to clearly analyze what happened for the 300 years of slavery, what happened for nearly 100 years in terms of colonization, and how did we achieve our independence. It's the black majority people fighting for freedom, fighting for one man, one vote. So at the same time, Section 93 of our Constitution is very clear in terms of the legal processes that are supposed to be followed in the case of a disputed election. So one most important fundamental issue that we should never allow observers or any external forces is to undermine our sovereignty as a people, to undermine institutions like what was indicated in the EU Observer Mission Selection Report, whereby they wanted to usurp the powers of Parliament, the independence of the judiciary, and the outcome of the elections, which was already decided on the 23rd and the 24th of August 2023, in that the will of the people prevailed. The voice of the people is the voice of God. So the people decided who should be the rulers of this country. I thank you. I didn't get your name. Maxwell. And your specific question.
My question is about when are we going to see the implementation of the reduction of fares in domestic tourism?
Okay, okay, that's the question. Okay. All right, thank you, Maxo Tapa Tapa. The first question is to the Minister of Health and Child Care. In terms of vending, are we going to have a restriction in terms of the designation of vending sites and perhaps the action that is going to be taken against those who conduct vending outside designated areas? Over to you, Minister.
Thank you very much for that very important question. Yes, it's true. After touring Kuwadzana in particular, Kuwadzana is where we are getting 40% of cholera cases in Harare coming from. That's where we are seeing the challenges of water supply, poor refuse disposal, and also poor sewer reticulation. After looking at all the causative factors that may affect the spread of cholera, we came up with that decision, having realized that vendors are all over the roads, and it's shopping centers, people are cooking food, people are selling tomatoes, vegetables, but when you look at it, there's no water to clean these commodities. There are no toilets. So what is happening from morning till evening when all these vendors are there, and they are overcrowded places? So we have had a conversation with the municipality of Harare authorities to take remedial measures, failure of which we will have to move in as government. And definitely we have to remove these illegal vendors because they will cost us lives. We have to save lives. We have to stop this cholera spread, so no one should be left doing the wrong thing. wash food. So that is what we want to see taking place in Harare. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mombeshora. The next question relates to cement. I'll answer the question last. I'll allow the Minister of Tourism and Hospitality Industry to respond to the question related to the lowering of fares by Maxwell Tapatapa. Honorable Minister, can you respond?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chairman, and thank you, Maxwell, for the question. So you initially said waivers. Is it the correct way? I think so. Yeah, waivers, I don't think so at the moment. So we are a new ministry that has just been separated from environment to be a standalone ministry, whereby right now we are in the process of discussions with the private sector, the operators, in trying to find out what exactly is the issue about the high prices, particularly to the domestic consumers. So generally, the price is high even for the international consumers and both the domestic consumers comparing within the region. So we are in the discussion. While we are discussing with them, the discovery is there could be an issue of taking advantage of the system, particularly on the issue that there's an interchange rate of our local currency and foreign currency. They are always talking about that when the rates are interchanging, going up and down. That affects the supply chain and that also affects the value chain. So on our side as the government, we are looking into that, and it's quite a process. We've just been appointed in September, and apparently it's the end of the year, and we're going towards the festive season. So I can't really promise that there will be waivers or there will be a reduction in domestic tourism accessibility. However, we have other areas and other promoters that are coming together with us, understanding us, who are promising that they have Christmas offers, they have Christmas promotions. So yes, I can say in other places there will be reduction, but I don't promise that. From the government perspective, we have said there must be a waiver or a reduction in the within the domestic tourism consumers, but we are negotiating because we are promoting our domestic tourism. We want the Zimbabweans to enjoy the destinations in our country and the products that we have. But I promise you that next year we'll be getting somewhere, as we are going to introduce new ways of doing business with our operators. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Comrade journalists, this with respect to cement shortages, this is just one of the cocktail of measures that the government of Zimbabwe has managed to implement in order to augment cement supplies in all provinces, in the interest of ensuring that we produce more and more cement to ameliorate the current shortages, but we're also working together with industry players. So the relaxation of the rules pertaining to the importation of cement to individuals will not be abused, because there is a watertight system, including the revenue authority, in that the tonnage that has been assigned to an individual, which is 5 tons, is the maximum an individual is supposed to import. But at the same time, the dispensation also allows the importation of cement by other players, industry players, and at the same time by other wholesalers in big volumes and other retailers. There is also another infrastructure development in terms of the kilns, in terms of converting the limestone into clinker, the development of these new skills, the increased production of limestone, the commissioning which was recently done at Kaya Cement, which also includes a vertical mill The importation as well for raw materials, which also includes clinker, to boost production, and also to assure you that PPC, Sino, and Life Touch have also ramped up their production. So we expect to see a change by December 2023. Meanwhile, the President has also tasked the committee and the minister to find ways to try and reduce the current shortages, and also to work on modalities to reduce the pricing in terms of cement. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. We have come